mild steel plates in horizontal position, visual inspection. We have objectives for visual inspection. First is identified as 3 stages in visual inspection, because visual inspection has 3 stages. Number 2, classify the items of visual inspection. Number 3 is practice the value of welding application. So we already had some cleaning, and then we did our prayers and we checked the attendance. Let's have a review about our previous lesson. So last day we talked about the weld profiles, the weld tool, the weld face, the theoretical truth, the weld root, the joint root, and the welding. And we talk also about the weld contour, the contour, the symbol, and the weld symbols, as you have seen on the slides. So in visual inspection is the safest and efficient way of welding inspection, because in welding we need to be inspecting our work or a job, and then the contour and the finish welds will be confirmed in visual inspection. So before we proceed, let's have a pretest. Here are some important items in visual inspection of weldment before, during, and after welding. Okay, so write B if the item is observed before, and D if during, and A if after. Then you can use a separate answer sheets. Okay, B before, D during, and A after. Ready? Okay, good. So here is number 1, all applicable drawings, specifications, and procedures. You choose the answer, either B, D, or A. 2, assembly dimension and fit up. 3, correct welding current and polarity are being used. 4, interpass temperature are being maintained. 5, sizes of welds. Okay, did you get that? Okay, let's check. Okay, so the answer for number 1 is B, number 2 is B, number 3 is D, number 4 is D, and number 5 is A. So I hope you had the correct answer for some. Before we proceed, there are few questions to consider. First is, what is the most efficient way to detect and avoid errors at early stage in welding? The number 2 is, what is the most effective quality control in welding? So please bear this in mind. Ready to dive in? Yes? Okay, good. So visual inspection. Visual inspection, of course, from the word visual, we'll be using our eyes. There will be an ocular inspection, or going to conduct a visual inspection. So of course there is an inspector that is doing this job in visual inspection. So what is visual inspection? So visual examination is the most widely used non-destructive testing technique. So it is extremely effective and is the less expensive inspection method. And the welding inspector can utilize visual inspection throughout the entire production cycle of a weldment. So instead hiring X-ray machine for metal, to do that, they are going to use visual inspection. So visual inspection also is an effective way, effective quality control method that will ensure procedure conformity and will find errors at early stages. Or else, if the error is already on the onset, it's more expensive to do that. or else you will have a back job. And then visual inspection can be subdivided into three divisions. First is visual examination prior to welding. Number 2, visual examination during welding. And 3, visual examination of the finished weldment. So you have prior, during, and finished weldment. Visual examination prior to welding. So this item that must be reviewed and checked prior to welding. So all applicable drawings, specifications, procedures, welder qualification, and others should be checked. So the drawings, you have the project plan, something like that, and some specifications, what materials, what electrode, what kind of machine, etc., and the procedure, and of course who will do the welding job. That's the welder qualification. Is the welder qualified to do? Okay, so number 2, material specification of parts comprising the weldment to determine if it follows required specification. So the material should follow some specification. Okay, so here compare its preparation of its joint with the drawings. Of course, we're talking about here the project plan and the drawing. And you have the its preparation. There are some weldment that there is no its preparation. Example, the one that we had in our project in fillet weld, there is no its preparation. The lap joint, the corner joint, and the T-joint. But there are some also that has a joint that has some aids preparation, just like the bevel, you have the groove, and etc. So you are going to check also the dimension of its item for the weldment fit up. So the measurement, the dimension. Number 6 is the fit up operation, check up assembly dimension and fit up. So you have two dimension here, the assembly dimension and the fit up dimension. So it must be checked so that it is possible to assemble the whole assembly once you are welding for its item is already done for fit ups. So number 7, at the fit up, check the cleanliness of welding joint and condition of the tack weld. So that's it. In second part, and visual examination is the visual examination during welding. Previously we talked about prior welding. This time we are talking about during welding. So when welding begins, there are several items that should be checked. So we are talking now on the actual welding. You are in the shop or in the working area and you are going to start making the welding job. So you're going to check the welding procedure. What is the procedure in doing this? Make sure that they are in order, applicable to the weldment, and available to the people doing the weldment. Okay? So because there are many procedures in welding, so make sure that they are in order. Another thing is the important items that must be checked during welding is determine the designated welding process and methods of application are in accordance with the procedure. So we know we have the welding process. Here in our school, we are using the Smaw, the shielded metal arc welding. But in some other, as you progress, you will be using the gas tungsten or GTAW. You will be using the IFCAW and the argon and some other gas centered kinds of welding. So the welding process right now that we're concerned is about the shielded metal arc welding or the Smaw. Number 2, we are going to determine the designated electrode for the base metal, because not all base metal is compatible with the electrode. Example, if you're going to weld stainless steel, so you're going to use electrode that is stainless. If the base metal is cast iron, so it's impossible to weld using an ordinary electrode. Number 3, inspect or check the welding equipment to make sure that it is good operating condition, of course. So the welding equipment, the machine. And then number 4, determine the correct welding current and proper polarity are being used. So the current, of course, is be set according to your job, and then the proper polarity. We have the direct current electrode, and we have the positive and the negative current, the DC and okay. The fifth one is determine that preheat requirements are adhered to at the time of welding. So there are some job or there are some electrode that need to be preheat. Okay, so you need to look at that also during welding. Number 6, identify all welders assigned to the weldment job or joint in question. So the person who will be doing the job must be there, must be acquainted and know what he's going to do. Number 7, observe welders making welds. This has a rather starting effect on welders, especially when they know that their welds are being watched as they are being made. It means that they are now accountable, responsible for their job because somebody is looking up, somebody is expecting them to perform very well. Okay? Number 8, determine if interpass temperatures are being maintained. So if welding operations are discontinued for a while, interpass temperatures must be obtained before welding is resumed. So we know we have the first pass, which is the root pass, and we have the second pass, and we have the third pass, which is capping. And in between, there's a tendency that the temperature will drop. So you must, you need to determine if the temperature need to be maintained. Number 9, determine that the interpass cleaning by chipping, grinding, gouging are being done in accordance with procedure. So in the interpass, so that there will be the nice depositing of bead, you need to clean first before depositing the second pass, the third pass, and so on. Number 10, watch out for slugging. For example, adding rod or metal to a weld groove that weakens the joint. Okay. Now let's go to the third part of visual examination. Visual examination after welding or completed weldment. So before we have prior, during, and now we have after welding or completed weldment. So the inspector is expected to determine the weldment conforms to the working drawing and specification for which it is designed and constructed. Of course, you are going now to compare the output and the project plan or the drawing, the blueprint. So if it's really matched with each other. So the weld must all be made to the size specified. There are some items that must be considered. It is important to check the size of all welds. Of course, the size of all welds because it contributes how strong, contributes the strength of the assembly. The size of fillet welds can easily be determined by means of using weld gauges such as fillet weld gauge, US Navy weld gauge, and British weld gauge. So to be sure, the kind of the size of fillet weld. So all weld should be inspected to see that they do not have any of the following defects. So this is after, okay? This is after. You are going to find if there are some surface cracks. Next is you're going to look for crater cracks or underfill, just like a crater in the mountain or in the volcano. Surface porosities, those porous, those black holes, those are surface porosities. Incomplete root penetration and undercut. So you're going to look those. Okay, so another part in items under the after welding or finish weldment is the underfill on face or groove or fillet or concave. So this time it's lack some deposit bead on the weldment. Letter G is the opposite. You have the excessive face reinforcement groove or fillet. It's an overweld that forms a convex. Letter H is overlap, meaning it's an overlapping of beads. Letter I is misalignment. There is a weldment that is high and some weldment are low. And another one is the arc strikes, which there are some strikes all over the place. And then excessive spatter. There are some spatter on the part of the weld. So other weldment defects that must be checked also. We have three here. We have the warpage, that is beyond allowable or acceptable limits. We have the base metal defect, or scabs or seams in the base metal. There are some seams. And the third one is the backing welds, a question about quality of root fusion, the backing weld. So let's apply visual examination. So conducting visual examination, visual inspection will detect errors in welding at early stage. Because if errors be detected at the onset or after welding, it will be a waste of materials, and time, and energy, and electricity, because you need to do it again because of some errors. So it's very advisable to conduct visual inspection before going to start any job. So number two is you have the welding inspector will post the guidelines for proper compliance and awareness among welders and concerned. So this will make the welding job a standard that the company or the shop is maintaining. They're going to maintain that standard, that they're going to comply the guidelines. Another application of the visual examination is this is about quality control, and then quality control is non-negotiable in welding job, because your job will be goes to nothing if it is not dependable, if it will not reach meet the standard, the strength that the engineers or the job that is expected. Okay, so let's try if you can still remember or learn some things that we discussed about. So again, let's redo the pre-test. We will have a post-test. Okay, ready now? Okay, you're going to read and I'll give you some time. Okay, let's check 1 to 5 if your answer is correct. Okay, I hope you get some of the correct answers. Okay, 6 to 10, it's moved. So incomplete root penetration, you have the dimension of each item. Make sure that welding equipment are in good operating condition. Warpage and crater cracks or underfed. Okay, ready your answer? Okay, good. Okay, I hope you pass. The passing grade is 7 out of 10. So for our assignment and agreements, so we will do the horizontal welding, and we're trying to apply the visual inspection in its 3 stages. So I hope you learned something. So remember, applying the 5S of housekeeping. 3 items for keeps, items for waste basket, Saiton, arranged in order for easy use, Saizu, cleaning the workplace, Gidzu, high standard of housekeeping, Shitsuki, training and disciplining people to follow. Remember, a skilled person will serve among kings. Proverbs 22:29. Thank you, that's all. Bye-bye. God bless.